and welcome to the best podcast on the planet after Joe Rogan's. CrossFit Harrow podcast episode number 40. We are 40 weeks into a project that I started just purely to try and give something back to people at the beginning of the very first lockdown. We are 40 weeks in. So today is like a little bit, not necessarily unplanned, but a little bit more off the things that come straight to my mind. I've got a subject that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to try and see if I can have a little bit of a conversation with you through this podcast. And some of the things will resonate with you absolutely, and some of the things you'll be at a completely different stage to some, and that's absolutely fine. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is something that's become a little bit more apparent to me as I've got older. And you might be in this similar position and maybe like haven't put your finger on it. Now, as I've got older, I've realised that fitness is not my priority anymore. It's gone down the pecking order. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not important to me. It still is very important to me. And equally to you guys, it's pretty important to you. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, there's other things that sit above that. Now, you may have a family, children, husband, wife, partner. You might have things that sit above that. There's a couple of things that, you know, are more important than fitness. And if you're someone who is a big follower of social media, you don't need some spotty 18-year-old telling you that you can absolutely fucking do this and do that, and you know it's your last set and you should do this and you should be doing this, and there's no there's no excuse for not being able to. There absolutely is, but you just have to prioritize them, and it's okay to not kind of be okay with that, if that makes sense. Now, you've got to think that, for me, I'd probably say that actually fitness has probably gone down quite a bit. You know, I remember when I was 20, 21, even up until the age of 25, like, I wanted to win every single workout just to beat myself. I would, you know, train multiple times, not necessarily doing the same workouts, but like someone said, do you want to go and do this? Do you want to go for a bike ride? Do you want to go for a swim? Do you want to go? I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And for a long time, up until like 21, 22, from the age of, you know, competitively, let's say, you know, where it required a high demand, from the age of like 16, 17, for a good 5-6 years, I was playing football regularly, you know, training twice a week, games Saturdays, plus all the training that you do on top of that. I'd probably say I was putting best part of 12 to 14 hours a week into training. And that's a lot. And, you know, as you get older, it's not that you don't want to remain fit, but things become more important. Your family becomes important. Nutrition, and I don't necessarily mean just what you eat. Absolutely not. It's not just what you eat in terms of, you know, food or how much water you drink. You realise that what you read on your phone, what you hear on the telly, on the radio, that's or who your role models are. That's kind of your nutrition. That's the things that are feeding you. And I kind of look at it as a way, and I've probably done this quite a lot as I've got older. I've just removed things or individuals that aren't part of the mission that I, you know, want to accomplish, or the things that allow me to have a healthier frame of mind. And that's absolutely normal for you to do that. I think as we're younger, we try to be more people pleasers, where we have, you know, a lot of big social circles, and as you get older, you realise that actually people that have a lot more in common, or people that want to achieve the same things as you, are a lot smaller than actually the friendship groups that you have. So it's very interesting to look at it this way. I think one thing that is completely is so important is meeting new people, because those new people give you opportunities. They put you in opportunities that you probably wouldn't be in. They allow you to be creative. They, you know, and there's actually one thing that stands out. This is something that Richard Branson said, and I've actually done this quite a few times, not recently, but in my past. He says along the lines of, if someone gives you an opportunity and you don't know how to, just accept and figure it out on the way. And for me, that's the best way that I personally learn, and that's probably the same, you know, maybe for a lot of us that are listening. And as I said, there are other things that go on top of fitness. You've got work. If you run your own business, work is more important than your fitness. Where does it matter that you've done 3 rounds in under 10 minutes? Fucking, of course it doesn't. But your work's more important. But actually, does it matter that you got the workout done? Did you do the 3 rounds? Yes. Did you do your best? Was it the best for that day? Yes. Absolutely. And that's more important than you completing a workout in a certain period of time. We put a lot of external pressure on ourselves. And do you know what? It is okay. You don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to come first. The progress that you make in a workout today or you made today does not need to be the standard that you do tomorrow or next week. And I think a lot of us are subject to that. We put this external pressure that we've done this in the past, you've felt this, you've done whatever it might be, so you go by that. And the realistic, element of this is that none of us are full-time athletes. None of us get paid to train. None of us are elite level athletes. That's not what we do. We are normal people. Now, in order for you to achieve all these things, you put it in your own hierarchy, and everyone's priorities are completely different. But if you're in the position that you're now, and fitness is still the top of your list, then you're definitely doing something wrong. And it's the hard truth, because it shouldn't be. Family, friends, work, as I said, the nutrition. And I do think it's important to be in that right headspace, because that will allow you to do a lot of other things. Being in that right headspace will allow you to have better relationships with your friends, your family. It will make you enjoy your workouts a little bit more, your period of training. And this doesn't even have to be from a CrossFit perspective, but whatever form of training that you're doing, that will allow you to be like you're enjoying it. Some of us are going, and we've done the podcast on this before, some of us are going to exercise purely to just burn calories, and that's why you're in your fucking standstill position that you cannot improve, because what you're doing is all wrong. If you've listened to this for a long time, you should know that you're not going to the gym to burn calories. If you are, you're doing it wrong. You are going there to improve. You're going there to get fitter. You're going there to get healthier. You're going there to learn a new skill. You may be going there to socialize, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to put in 1,000,000% into every workout, because some days it's not always sunshines and rainbows. Some days it is rainy days and stormy days, not Stormzy. You've got to just adapt on the day and go by how you feel. I'll give you an example. Personally, for me, the last couple of days has not been great. I've not felt like I wanted to train. Now, if this was me 10 years ago, I would have just got on with it, just done what I needed to do and just trained. I've actually taken a few days off training, and I feel a lot better for not training. And you get caught up in this world that I haven't trained Monday, Tuesday, and blah, blah, blah. Now, for a lot of us, we probably hate Mondays. Mondays are one of my favourite days of the week, and also Thursdays, so I get to speak to a large audience. I love those days. I look forward to those days. And actually, if you're in that headspace where you can look forward to going to do some form of fitness, and it doesn't even have to be measured, it's just a form of physical activity. If that means that you're going out on a bike ride and you're by yourself, or you're going out with a friend, or if that means you're going out for a walk, or you're just getting some fresh air, you're going for a circuit outside, you're taking some TRX or some cones to the park, you're bringing a barbell out the back garden, do whatever you need to do to just tick that off the list, and that's absolutely fine. I think one thing the lockdown has taught a lot of us, and I didn't want to actually talk about this lockdown itself, I want to stay away from it, but one thing I think it's taught a lot of us to do is find new ways of getting that physical adaptation to training, because it doesn't always have to be in the gym. One of the greatest things that I love it and I enjoy it, and I've got into it a lot more, is cycling. It's taken me a little while to understand, it's so important, the gears and the shoes, and, it can become quite an expensive hobby, but it's so fun to go out in the morning, hardly anyone's on the road, get some fresh air, just be at peace, just seeing cars go by, everyone just getting on, the world going by. And that, for me, I love that. And that's as good enough for me as fitness as going into gym and slamming my body through, a brutal workout. of loading, X amount of kilo on a barbell or doing whatever it might be. Now, prioritize and use this as an exercise if you want. Grab a piece of paper and write down the things that are important to you on the left, and then on the right, put them at what order they're more important to you. And if you have got children, they're probably going to be above anything else. Then it may become your family. But I think something, as I said before, that needs to be quite high on that list is the nutrition. And I'm talking about not just the food, remember, everything that you consume. And if that means taking a break from social media, then absolutely do that. Now, if your business is run on social media and you're in charge of that, can you get someone else to do that in the short term? How much is your business going to be affected if you don't actively post on there? Or could you look at a software that automatically posts for you so that you don't have to deal with all the other stuff that's on there and you don't have to go on there, but you know that your work is being delivered? I think if you can establish those small little things, I think you'll find yourself in a bit of a better position. Remember, it's not the be all and end all if you haven't had a workout in that day. And the one thing that I dislike about fitness, and maybe this is influenced by the things that you see, maybe it's influenced by the way that you feel once you start training, but once you start training, you get this new way of thinking that you look at a food plate as proteins, fats, and carbs. You look at yourself differently in the mirror. You look at yourself or foods differently in a way that, is this, supporting X, Y, and Z? And some of this stuff might be contradictory to what I've said in some previous podcasts. But my point is that I want to take a little bit of pressure or help you try and take some pressure off yourself with the things that you don't do in terms of getting those workouts done. Because in the grand scheme of things, they're not really that important. You stop training like a full-time athlete when you're not. And that applies to people like myself. We need to maybe change a status quo that, if you work in the fitness industry or the minute that you start training, you have to become so self-obsessed. And I think, in regards to meeting new people, some people just don't like that. If you're meeting new people and you're just infatuated by training. And we were actually having this discussion the other day, myself, Kay, Subes and Grant. We were talking about meeting people, and that actually, if you're in a position where you're meeting the opposite sex for the first time or whatnot, they might not like that because you become so obsessive of the things of training. And it's good that it's important to you, but how important is it? Where is it on that list? It definitely shouldn't be at the top. It just needs to be somewhere on that list that you're doing something towards it every day. And going back to the 60 Day Strong, I think that encourages people to take that pressure off and find new ways again. Because we're asking people to do something, one workout a day. And as we've discussed, that one workout can be anything that is 20 to 30 minutes plus that does elevate the heart rate. Okay, if you're going out walking, that's fine, but a walk around the block does not suffice. It has to be something that is worthwhile you doing in terms of improving your physical health. At resting heart rate, or walking around by increasing your heart rate by 25 beats per minute is probably not going to get you the same effect. Okay, so have a think about that. Really sit there and prioritize what is important to you. And I think if you start writing these things down, you'll understand that, or you'll see things in a different light. Things become a lot more clearer, especially the fact that we're at home, we're sitting there and maybe feeling a little bit guilty. You should feel no guilt whatsoever that you have not worked out. As I told you, I've not worked out for the last 3 days, and there is absolutely no guilt to not working out. Do I give a shit? Absolutely not. Is it important? No. The amount of years of training that I have behind me is 3 days going to break the bank. Let's say it will break my fitness. Probably not. It's actually going to probably do me, it is actually going to do me a lot better. You've got to think about, in regards to, if you translate that into training in terms of resting, you don't build muscle when you're lifting the weight. Your muscle doesn't grow when you're lifting. I mean, at the time you'll have, an increased amount of blood being pumped to the muscle, but your muscle doesn't grow. You're creating the stimulus, the adaptation. While you're creating that stimulus whilst you're working out. Then to continue that adaptation to the stimulus, you recover, you fuel yourself with good food, and you do your you're growing, let's say, you do your growing outside of the gym. You know, it's not there and then that you make that result, and that's what I think people just lose their mind over. I've got to work so hard. I've got to do this. I've got to do one more. You know, I'm in the time cap. I've got to like. It doesn't matter. You're only going to get better when you rest and recover. I still want you to give effort into your workouts. This is not me saying take the foot off the gas in that respect. I'm saying take the foot off your pressure, not off the gas. You can still work out hard. But if you miss one, it's not that important. Stimulus. The stimulus is whilst you're training. To gain that adaptation, you need to rest and recover. So it's okay to take 2 or 3 rest days. 4 rest days if you need it. Your brain needs more of a rest, for me personally, in the position that we're all in now, than your body does. Your body can probably do a little bit more at the moment, where usually it's the other way around. Your body will kind of deteriorate before your mind does. So look at it from that perspective. Training should be fun, and if you're finding that it's a chore, you're not doing it right. Your priorities may be out of line, and I think you need to take some time, and hopefully this podcast has helped you reflect on what's most important to you. Remember, I do think that if you've got 10, let's say, things that are important to you, I think fitness should be in the top 5. Doesn't have to be, it certainly shouldn't be the bottom because it is important to us, but it certainly shouldn't be the top. Somewhere in the middle that allows you to move forwards, but doesn't allow you to move back. And if you can take something away from today's podcast, it's that. Somewhere sit in the middle will allow you to just keep pushing slowly every day, 1% marginal gains every day. See you back next week.